then with euros and dollars, we know those are being inflated. Like
Correct.
the whole goal of these fiat currencies is that they slowly become worth less over time.
When that attack happened on you, the personal attack that someone kind of came up with, connected the dots, found out your pseudonym or your anonymous account, and then sent it to the central bank saying, we should fire this guy, he's being anti-central bank.
People fight over so much. I definitely had many discussions within the central bank. I disagreed with everyone pretty much because I was quite fond of crypto and most were not.
Has there been that one day where you had that doubt? Am I in the right direction?
And I was like, okay, maybe this just doesn't work. I had my doubts around that time.
It takes courage to leave something comfortable and enter the chasm of uncertainty.
Yeah.
If someone's listening to this and is on the brink of taking that leap, but is having a doubt about it, what would you say to them?
Ooh.
Welcome to the show, Milan. So let's get right into it. You went from Dutch central bank to cryptocurrency. So let's look at the big picture first. If someone's listening to this podcast right now, what's the one thing you'll say to look at or give their attention to crypto from the sense not only of investment, but from a mindset change?
For me, crypto comes down to freedom, to being able to decide for yourself in many ways.
Yep.
So I would say the investment, as you mentioned, like for me, it's not so much about the investment, but more there is no one else deciding like that it's possible to inflate the value, for example. And that's where the investment comes from, right?
Correct.
Because like if no one else can inflate the value, then it's a good place to store your money. It's a good store value, whatever. But for me, it's also no one can stop you from taking it with you to another country. No one can stop you from transacting in it. Like we run a website, we take payments. No one can stop us from taking nano payments. So for me, it's the sort of keeping the power with yourself instead of giving it to anyone else. That would be the one thing that would be like, this is why you need to look into crypto for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, you have to not take anyone's permission. The control is all with you.
Yeah,
basically.
permissionless.
Right?
Yeah.
So you've made Nano your crypto of choice. For someone who doesn't know anything about Nano, what are like the top things that you would say contribute to Nano's power?
So I think it's two things. It's the payment side and sort of what you refer to as the investment side or the store of value side. For me, the payment side it's completely feeless, like zero fees, and transactions are instantly settled. And I think any merchant that takes payments will realize like, okay, fees are very annoying. Like you don't want to be paying 3% fees on everything.
Yeah.
If you take credit cards, it's like 3% and 30 cents on every transaction. It adds up to so much money. And then you use Stripe, it takes like a week before you even get your money, can take even longer. People can do like refunds or whatever. And Nano, it's just, you have the money instantly, you've paid zero fees. Like there's no one between you and getting your money. So I think as a form of payment, it's literally perfect because like it's hard to get cheaper than zero fees, hard to get faster than instant.
And no Stripe fees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just for a merchant, it's a dream to work with because there's nothing else to take into account, just accept money, you get it.
Correct.
And then we also use it as our store of value because we had to decide, okay, we make profits. Do we keep it in euros or dollars or do we keep it in something else? And then with euros and dollars, we know those are being inflated. Like
Correct.
the whole goal of these fiat currencies is that they slowly become worth less over time. So we were asking ourselves like, okay, why would we keep our money in a form of money that's becoming worth less over time?
Yeah.
And with Nano, there's a fixed supply. There's no more Nano that can be created. So theoretically, it's a perfect store of value as well. So for us, it's perfect form of medium of exchange and perfect store of value. So we accept it, we can store our value in it. And I think for almost every merchant that starts looking into it, they'll love the way it works.
And even for like microtransactions, like that would be impossible with Stripe, right?
Yeah.
Because they just take 30 cents right up front for any transaction.
Yeah.
And then a 3% on top of that. So if you're saying doing like 50-cent transactions, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense as a business.
No, so the smallest payment that we accept for most crypto is 10 cents. That's literally not possible with Stripe. And with Nano, we have people who literally deposit 1 cent to try it out. Like there is no way you can ever do that with traditional like financial system. So yeah, it's for micropayments, it's fantastic.
And someone who's skeptical right now about Nano, like it's too good to be true. Can you explain a bit more about on the tech side of things, like with the open representative voting,
Yeah.
right? What is it? How does it work? Why is it feeless? How was that made possible essentially?
Yeah. So I think the feelers is just a design choice, right? So many other crypto, you pay a fee because you want your transaction to be prioritized. So a blockchain can only do so many transactions, and essentially you get in line for your transaction to be processed, you pay more, you get in
Hmm.
front. In Nano, they decided to take that out. There is no fee. So the way you get prioritized is not how much you pay. It's essentially a combination of what balance you have in your account and how long ago you transacted. And then any transaction that's sent in, it gets prioritized based on that. To be honest, it doesn't really matter because the network can just handle every transaction anyway, so there's no waiting time or whatever. If it ever got too busy, this would become relevant, but that's like likely not going to be
Yeah.
the case. Um, and then the confirmation is done through, open representative voting.
Yep.
So anyone who holds Nano can say who they want to be able to decide on transactions, like to confirm transactions. So even if you have one Nano, you can say, okay, I really trust Strawberry Labs, for example. They have a stake in Nano, like they want the network to work well, so I'm going to vote for them. Just like simple democratic voting. And then if you want to confirm a transaction, you need 67% of the network, like weighted by votes or weighted by Nano,
Yep.
to say this transaction is confirmed.
And it's the online vote, right?
Online vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Very important. So it's a very simple system in which everyone who holds Nano presumably wants that Nano to be worth a lot, or like at least to be secure and not to like make it possible to like not confirm transactions.
Correct.
So everyone has the incentive to sort of decentralize the network to make sure it's like difficult to confirm a transaction if it's not actually valid.
Yeah.
So I think the incentive system is really beautiful. The open representative voting, it just aligns everyone's interest in a really good way that's not really possible with any other consensus mechanism that I know of. And I think the fees really play into that because there are no fees, there is no inflation. So the only incentive you have to run a node or to do something for the Nano network is because you use it yourself, right? Like we run a node, you probably run a node.
Yeah, access to the network.
Exactly. You have access to the network, and there is no monetary incentive to want to grow your node bigger. So it's a very natural sort of decentralizing incentive, I think.
And it's like the more the number of businesses try to accept Nano, and if you, let's say you're mid-sized business, you definitely would want your own node for reliability, right?
Yeah. So we're a good example. I think we started with public nodes because we were very small at the start, and there's a lot of public nodes that you can just use. But then we started growing, and like public nodes are not reliable enough for an actual business.
Correct.
So that's when we started running our own node, which is super cheap. Like we pay 14 euros a month now, I think, for our node, and it can process everything easily. I think we even run some other stuff on the server. So it's very cheap. And it's just, you need that reliability and you need that instant full access.
Correct.
So yeah,
Correct.
it's a good incentive, I think.
And of course, even though you believe so much in Nano, you have all your faith into it, there would have been some days you might have some doubts about it, right?
Yeah.
Because you have so much exposure to so many other coins. There's a lot of meme coins that are going on right now. I know that's all noise, but for you personally, has there been that one day where you had that doubt? Am I in the right direction? And if you did have that, what pulled you back into that faith that you have for Nano?
Yeah, so I think there's one sort of doubt that you always have, like, is it going to catch on, right? Like, you need a network effect for money to work,
Yeah.
and you need others to adopt it as well. Like, we try to help with this with having an earn page and stuff as well, because you want like people having it and also people accepting it. I think like that's always a doubt until it's like worldwide used. I have that doubt to an extent. I think my only real moment of like sadness maybe was when the spam attack happened, like the initial spam attack that really worked and that like really didn't take the network offline, of course, but really degraded performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this just like maybe this just doesn't work. Like, how are you going to make feelers work? Like if it's just going to be like this all the time.
I think everyone had a doubt during those times, right? It was
Exactly.
really tough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And for many people, like they couldn't move their Nano as they were used to. They didn't understand why. And people were blaming others, whatever. And I think the sort of new way of prioritizing transactions, like based on balance and based on how long since you've transacted, it's very elegant if you think
Yeah.
through it. Like it's very difficult to attack. I keep running calculations on it and whatever, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to attack this successfully, you need to invest so much money into Nano
Correct.
that you're not going to want to attack. Like you're only attacking yourself if you do this.
Yeah, the bounded backlog is a really interesting, protocol aspect of things, right? That Colin and I think Piotr also contributed to it. A lot of people actually contributed to it.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Yeah, and it just works beautifully.
Yeah.
So before the weak part of Nano really was, I think the prioritization, and now the beauty of Nano is how it aligns all the incentives, right? For like node runners and people holding
Yeah,
Nano and
yeah.
whatever. And now that's also been applied to transaction prioritization, which I think was the one missing thing really. So yeah, I had my doubts around that time, but then reading and learning about how they were planning to solve it and to improve it, that like helped.
Yeah. Completely.
Especially the more I looked into it because I wanted to write an article on it and whatever.
Got
So
it.
you have to dive
Yeah,
deep,
yeah.
do the math.
Understand the tech behind it, right?
Exactly, yeah. Ask Patrick, ask Colin.
Yeah. I completely get you. So with so many coins out there and all, I noticed you recently mentioned in Discord channel that Joel from Dash has also, you had a podcast with him
Yeah.
as well, right? On Twitter X Spaces.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that he's completely unbanked. And even though he's an advocate for Dash mainly, he runs the Dash X channel,
Yeah.
basically, right? He still kind of touches his feet into other cryptos as well, and he holds a lot of other cryptos, transacts with them, and is completely living life unbanked
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just running on crypto transactions. So what do you think, like, is that something that the entire crypto community as a whole should be thinking of, partnering with each other and supporting the crypto vision, and not having fights amongst each other?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's quite obvious, right? Like it's, to be honest, the crypto bubble, everyone sort of 99% agrees on like this is important. We want to have decentralized money. And then the 1%, which is like which specific coin or what is the best implementation, people fight over so much.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I've changed a bit in this. I was always super argumentative on Twitter, just like Nano does work best, to be honest.
Yeah.
But nowadays I shout it less and I don't reply guy as much as I
I get
used to. I think partly because for NanoGPT, we accept more crypto than just Nano, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of also want to like stay friendly to all those other communities. But at the end of the day, I do think Nano works best. But if, for example, Joel with Dash, if there's a place he cannot spend Nano yet, hopefully,
Yeah.
but he can spend Dash, then like obviously use Dash.
Go for it.
If there's another crypto you can use and it works well enough, then go for it, man. Like, so I think I am pretty supportive of just crypto payments in general. I think the more people start using crypto, the more they'll arrive at Nano anyway, to be honest, just because it works best. We also see this on NanoGPT, where sometimes people will first deposit using some other coin, even Bitcoin sometimes, and they just discover it doesn't always work as well. And then they'll try out Nano, you know, especially now that we have like the faucet, so people can try it out.
Yes.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. So yeah, to me, it's just the more crypto is actually used, the better. It gives people more freedom. And I think the more it's used, the more like all roads lead to Nano, right? Like if you want to use it as money, crypto,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better. But in the meantime, use whatever works.
And let people decide about it, right?
Yeah.
This is the best.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the main vision, as we started the podcast with. It's about control and freedom.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, right?
Yeah. And like if Bitcoin Cash works well enough for you and it's accepted in places, then go for it. We're going to the Bitcoin Cash conference actually.
Oh, okay.
And what they've done is you can pay for your hotel in Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, wow.
For
Okay.
example, and you can pay for other stuff around there in Bitcoin Cash. Like that's fantastic. It's not Nano, but I'm still super happy that
Correct.
they're driving adoption. They're driving actual usage.
Yeah, actual usage is the most important metric, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just try and be supportive of whatever usage there is on whatever chain.
Correct. So in the past, you've been working at the Dutch Central Bank.
Yeah.
And it was at the same time as you were interested in crypto and when you got into crypto, correct? So were there any instances where you kind of mentioned a little bit about crypto or Nano itself to your peers or made them try it and make them see the light, let's just
Yeah,
say?
yeah. So I was into crypto way before the central bank.
Okay.
So my first crypto or like first time with Bitcoin at the time was 2012 or something, and I joined the central bank in 2018, I
Mhm.
think. And then at one point they discovered I knew a lot about crypto, so they made me like crypto lead or crypto expert, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
I definitely had many discussions within the central bank. I disagreed with everyone pretty much because I was quite fond of crypto and most were not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely sent many people some Nano. I did a presentation at one point for anyone who wanted to learn a bit about crypto. So I was like, I'll walk through the basics, I'll help you set up a wallet, and I'll send you some Nano.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I did a presentation and set up my own faucet, and
Oh wow. Okay.
I think like 100 people got a little bit of Nano just to give
Wow.
them the experience of how does a wallet work, how do you receive a transaction, how do you send a transaction. I think I had them send it to like a charity of their choice. There were a
Yeah.
few that supported Nano, so they could pick. But yeah, I definitely in my time there, I was people knew me as the crypto guy,
Correct. Correct.
and like if people had questions about it, they would come to me, obviously,
Yeah.
and I sort of tried to argue for why crypto can be good. You know, why people see it as useful and why it's actually a good thing to have in the world.
Correct.
So yeah, I definitely tried while I was there.
And how is it when that attack happened on you, the personal attack that someone kind of came up with, connected the dots, found out your pseudonym or your
Yeah,
anonymous account, and then sent it to the central bank, saying all sorts of things that we should fire this guy. He's being anti-central bank. So let just go through that. Like, how was that?
yeah.
How did it impact you at a personal level, and also professionally? How was the central bank's like reaction?
Yeah. So at the time, I had this big post. My Twitter posts are way too long, as you know,
Yeah.
about sort of the flaws with Bitcoin, like what needed improving and what sort of issues it had. And it really pissed off some Bitcoiners, I
Hmm.
think. The post blew up, it got big. Um, and so one of them reached out to the central bank and they essentially like showed the post that I had made that were either anti-central bank or made during Dutch working hours. So they
Okay.
had like collected a list and they had forwarded it to the central bank. At the same time, I got a death threat as well.
Oh my God. Okay.
So like people really hated the post, I think.
But it's all keyboard warriors, right?
Yeah, that's what I think as well, to be honest. I reported it to, I think it was Twitter and Reddit. Like I
Hmm.
got one on each. But essentially, so they reached out to the central bank, to the compliance department.
Wow.
And like they reached out to me from the compliance department telling me like, hey, we got this. And they had a call with me and whatever, but they were super chill about it.
Okay.
They didn't really care. They're like, what you do on your own time, like it's totally fine as long as you're not presenting it as the views of the central
Mhm.
bank. Like you learn from this on Twitter probably, so like keep doing it. Just be aware someone is out to get you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, they were on your side.
yeah, they were on my side, so
Yeah.
like props to them. They handled it really well, I think, and they didn't ask me to change anything. Just like sort of heads up, like
Beware.
this is
Yeah.
going on. Yeah, but what it changed for me is like it made me more convinced I wanted to be anonymous.
Hmm.
Like being doxxed sort of, but also the death threats, like even if it's keyboard warriors, it's still annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so for the 2 weeks after that, I think I posted a lot less. I was
Mm.
like, well, like okay, I guess
Cool down period.
yeah, sort of. And then I realized like, okay, it is just keyboard warriors and like nothing bad is happening at work, so I'll get back into it.
Hmm.
But yeah, for a time it does feel very weird, right?
Correct.
But yeah, I was happy to be anonymous at the time for sure.
So, Mira Hurley.
Mira Hurley.
Please tell me what is the origin of that?
At the time, so I was on Reddit, right? I was posting a lot on Reddit, and a friend and I decided we also wanted to start posting on Twitter.
Hmm.
And at the time, we didn't have a Twitter account, so we were just starting a new account. I knew I had to be anonymous because central bank,
Yeah.
and he also had to be anonymous for another reason. And we were like, how do you quickly grow an account? And he thought it would be if you posted memes and GIFs and whatever, it
Yeah.
would grow quickly. I'm like, dude, just put like a picture of a woman and you'll grow quickly on Twitter. So he was like, okay, let's try it. You do this, I do that, and we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. And obviously, like Mira became quite a hit. What I did was just go to thispersondoesnotexist.com.
Wow. Okay.
And the first generation was a guy, and then I
Uh-huh.
refreshed and it was a girl, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go with this one.
Oh, it's the second generation.
Yeah, I
Wow.
wasn't picky. I was just like, okay, this works. And then I thought she looked Canadian, so
Okay.
I picked like a Canadian name generator, and it came up with Mira.
Even that's the generator.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Nowadays, the image models are way better
Correct.
because I think
Correct.
with Mira you could kind of tell like it wasn't real. Many people did not tell it wasn't
Didn't
real.
suspect
Like
it.
they were,
Yeah.
they were very disappointed when I came out as Milan. Like, oh, I don't have a chance with Mira.
Yeah.
anymore. But yeah, that was the origin story, and then I didn't expect it to grow that much that quickly. So it became kind of awkward for me. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to do podcasts and conferences and whatever, but then it would be pretty clear I was not Mira.
Exactly. Exactly.
So in the end, it was a good thing that I like doxed myself.
So yeah, your main decision was because you wanted to come out and interact with the community more, like the recent meetup in Amsterdam that you had.
Yeah.
So that was just not possible before, right? And
No.
now we can have this discussion right here in the open. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was that, and also we started a company for NanoGPT.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, you can just sort of Google the company and then see the name and address and everything.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I was like, okay, if someone wants to do harm, sort of, they're gonna find it anyway. So like, what am I really still doing
Yeah.
this for? So then I was like, okay, there's a lot of upside to not being anonymous anymore. Podcasts, yeah, conferences,
Correct.
whatever. So I was like, okay, the time has come. I'll change from Mira to actual me. I
That
was
must have felt very liberating as well, right? To kind of just be out there as yourself.
Yeah. It was also kind of funny because I was expecting more sort of blowback of
Uh-huh.
people being pissed off or being like, oh, whatever. And there was like literally one negative reaction. Everyone else was kind of just like, oh, okay, and moved on.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, that was kind of funny. I thought it would be more of a deal.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
So when did you and Huggy, your co-founder for NanoGPT, so that's the service product that you have built.
Yeah.
When did you guys come up with the idea, and what was the pain point that you were trying to solve with it?
Yeah. So when ChatGPT came out, I was super enthusiastic about it. Like I was with friends and my girlfriend. We were flying back, and in the airport, I was just obsessed. It came out that day.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with just like interacting with it, and they were telling me like, "Ah, it's just a chatbot, whatever." And I got very into it, and I wanted to learn programming. So I kind of taught myself programming using ChatGPT, and then I built a Telegram bot. And then I realized like many people don't actually have access to ChatGPT. Back then it was subscription only. Many people don't want to spend $20 a month just to talk to it. So I built this Telegram bot where people could deposit a little bit of Nano and then like try out talking to ChatGPT. And it worked well. And then I added image generation and it started growing a bit. And then Huggy reached out to me
Okay.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, like it's really cool, the Telegram bot, but I think many people will probably want to use a website, right? There's many people who don't have Telegram.
The interface matters. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, yeah, fine. Okay, let's try it, and we'll just do it 50-50 and we'll see how it goes. So then we started NanoGPT, which at first I think was also just ChatGPT and DALL-E and just Nano for payment. And our website didn't look as good as it does now. We had like 0 options, whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And then we just kept building it out from there. But yeah, it started with just me sort of realizing many people don't want to spend $20 and
Correct.
do want to spend 10 cents to play with this. And that's where it started.
And you opened up the opportunity for a lot of the people that can't even afford like $3 on it, and they got exposed to AI because of it as
Yeah.
well, right? And not only let's just say the simpler models, but the more complex models as well, because even the best models out there on NanoGPT, the cost of running one prompt is really not much. It's a couple of cents.
Yeah. Yeah. The most expensive models there are now,
Yeah.
they do get more expensive because O1 Pro, for example,
yes.
came out. It's incredibly expensive. But many models, it's on average, I think it's 1 cent per prompt, per query. But then there's quite a wide range, right? Because we have some models, you can do 10,000 prompts for $1. So it's like 100 of a cent per prompt. And some are more expensive.
Yeah.
But on average, yeah, like Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini, it averages like 1 cent per query, which I think for many people, they want to use the top models for the few important questions that they have, right? Then you don't want to settle for a less capable model. And I think for that, it's super helpful for some people as well.
You can easily switch the models. You could even do like image gen if you wanted.
Yep.
All that capability is there on
Yeah,
NanoGPT, right?
yeah, video models nowadays as
Wow,
well.
that's great. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
make shots for Instagram and all.
Yeah. We have a shorts generator as
Nice,
well.
great.
So people can generate a short that's like ready for TikTok or YouTube or whatever. You can decide how long you want it to be, the style, the entire script and everything.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And also one more motivation I think I've found for myself is also anonymity.
Yeah.
You can use NanoGPT without an account as well,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So because Nano itself is like pseudo-anonymous, so you could just transact with Nano and pay per prompt and you have your result without revealing who you are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a private way of utilizing the models as well, correct?
Yeah. I think that's more important now than I realized back then, because it's kind of weird when you realize just how much information OpenAI has or
Correct.
Google has or whatever. Like they can link your credit card details and your full name and everything to the questions that you ask to the models. So like if you ask medical stuff or something,
Yeah.
you don't really want that linked to you as a person to later be like sold for data or hacked or whatever. So when people use us, you can literally use it without an account. We store nothing. You can pay in crypto and then it's completely anonymous. So yeah, we try to give people as much anonymity as is possible, which I think right now there hasn't been like a major leak or something yet. But
Yeah.
once it happens, people realize like, oh, they have a lot of data, a lot of information on me that I would prefer not to have stored there.
Correct.
So
And how many payment methods do you have on that? Because I remember seeing a lot of the cryptos that you accept, right?
yeah, what is it now? I think like 18 different crypto, I want to say, and then more via the swaps as well. So we use non-swap.
Yeah.
And also like if you count all the tokens on Ethereum or Solana, it's a lot more. But I think 18 and credit card, so 18 different crypto.
And what, from a usage perspective, like which cryptos out there or tokens out there do you see being, standing out or being used the most?
Nano.
Okay.
Nano is used most by far. So we release payment statistics every month.
Yeah.
And Nano has been like by far in the lead every month, which is kind of nice because we thought once we started adding other crypto, it would like eat away at Nano's share of payments, but it hasn't really so far. So we hope we're sort of bringing other people maybe into Nano as
Yeah.
well. But then Monero is the second most used, like by quite a margin to the third.
Got it.
Because anonymity, like privacy on Monero is of course even better than on Nano. It's not as easy to use, but it is quite easy to use. So yeah, Nano and Monero are the main ones. And then I think third keeps kind of changing. It's been Litecoin, it's been Bitcoin Cash, it's been Bitcoin, like regular Bitcoin. I don't know what it was the past month. I think maybe Bitcoin.
So it's even using just Bitcoin.
Yes.
Okay.
We have people who like want to deposit $1 and they
Yeah.
pay like a $3 fee on Bitcoin.
Okay.
It is so crazy to me. But yeah, people use Bitcoin as well.
I think on the payment page as well, you have a very clear instruction or rather an introduction towards Nano as well.
Yeah.
So even the people that are using other cryptos, they would have a good sense or at least get an introduction towards what Nano is.
Yeah.
And that could be the gateway into understanding the protocol, playing around with it because of things like the faucet and all,
Yeah.
and experiencing the power of Nano as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's what we hope at least.
Yeah.
We also put a 5% discount like label on Nano. And even when people pay via, I think, credit card, we show sort of like you can get a discount.
Yeah.
And we have this explanation page of why we accept Nano, like explaining for people who are not into crypto, just explaining what we said at the start, right? Like no fees, no strike
Correct.
fees. It's quicker, it's better. So we offer a discount, all that kind of stuff. So we hope that way we can kind of bring people to at least check out Nano, try it out with the faucet, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And then they can see for themselves, like, is this useful? So yeah, hopefully we're doing some building of, of the network.
Where do you see AI kind of heading in the next 5 years or so? Because when Claude came out, even you were saying like 3.7 is like amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's really great for one-shotting.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So where do you see that happen? Or rather, what do you see is going to be the usage of AI versus just depending on humans for certain tasks?
Yeah.
So where do you see that going?
Yeah. So it's super cliche to say at this point, I think, but it's moving so much, like it's moving insanely quick.
Exponentially, yeah?
Yeah, like even compared to just a year ago, it was for programming, it was sort of okay, but not that great yet. And now it's like, it's amazing for programming, I think, for development. Like Huggy, my co-founder, he's more technical.
Yeah.
He can do more himself without relying on the models. For me, I just rely on the models, and it like helps so much in every way. So for me, yeah, the future of pretty much every sort of intellectual task is going to be partly AI. Like, it doesn't really matter what you do. If it's a desk job, like, you need to figure out how to use it or
Yeah.
sort of be replaced by it, which I don't know what that's going to do for the world and for the workforce and for like the entire structure of our economy. It's kind of scary in a way, I
Yeah.
think.
A little dystopian, right?
Yeah, in a way, yes. So it kind of depends on how it goes. This is actually a big motivation for NanoGPT as well, because I think the worst outcome is there are super good models,
Mm-hmm.
but only the top can afford them or can use them.
Correct.
Like that's the risk, right? So what we want to do is make sure that even the top models, everyone can use them, right? Even if you live in a country where you don't have a credit card or you don't have that much to spend, like at least you can like play with it a little bit, or try it out a little bit and pay in crypto, so you don't need a credit card. Because yeah, to me it's quite scary with
Yeah.
AI, to be honest.
Have you seen people from like Nigeria and other African countries that have interacted with NanoGPT and tried it out?
Yeah, quite a bit. So everything is fully anonymous, right, and
Yeah.
private. So we don't know. We only know when people reach out to us. So I've used this example a few times, but there was a Kenyan guy
Mm-hmm.
who was using NanoGPT, and he like reached out to me. He's like, "Yeah, I was asking medical stuff, medical questions."
Wow.
And I was like, dude, like, I don't know if that's a good idea, right? Like, no
Correct.
guarantees. And he's like, yeah, but my alternative is like a shaman in the village.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for those purposes, it's great, right? Like, if you don't have good options around you, also for learning stuff, if you don't have a good teacher around to teach you programming or a language or how to build something, then it's great that you can just access this.
True.
All you need is internet connection and some crypto,
Yeah.
right? And we even have an earn page, so people can earn crypto hopefully that way. They can try it out with ExnoPay, with the faucet. So yeah, I have my doubts about where AI is heading or where the world is heading, and we hope to at least contribute to making sure everyone profits from it as much as possible.
Yeah. Be on the ride with it and then figure things out as it goes, right?
Yeah. I think that's the only way you can really do
Yeah.
this. Like, it moves so quickly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So from let's like widen the lens and look at uh your own experience of the entrepreneurship side of things, right? Was there someone in your life, or let's say some parents or a figure in your life that was also entrepreneurial that made it so that you have that example and made it so that you take that step as well?
Mm. I'm not sure. So my dad has had his own business, but he's also just done normal work. My mom had her own business at one point, but also has done normal work. I think it's more, for me, it was probably being naive. Like, I thought like, okay, like, how bad can it be, right? Like, let's just try it out. So when I was a student, I had my own business. And then like just after my studies, I tried another business. First one did quite well. Second one totally failed. Um, and then
That's the name of the game, right?
yeah, right. Like, and there was another one that actually totally failed. But it's like, it's okay. I have a good life. Like, if something fails, I know I have like an education I can fall back on. I can just find a job, whatever. I think that is maybe even more important, knowing you can just try stuff out
Yep.
and, worst case, okay, it's failed, I'll do better next time.
Then you still have your skills. That's the
Yes,
main thing.
you still have your skills, and you build your skills even quicker, I think, when founding your own business. Like,
Yeah, the failure is the main part of it, right?
right.
Learn from it.
Yeah, like, you probably, especially at the start, you have to do
Yeah.
everything yourself, right? You
Yeah.
have to learn, like, okay, in my case, like programming, but also sort of marketing. How do you do it? Or
Correct.
accounting. Like, it's so many little things, and it sort of forces you to learn it all very quickly.
Yeah.
So did I have a real example? Not that, yeah, well, yeah, sort of, I guess, with my parents, but I guess it's more, I grew up in a way where it was okay to fail at stuff and to just try stuff, and then like, okay, you can try again.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So yeah,
Great.
that's always been my thinking.
So quitting like a stable job at the Dutch central bank to going and trying something on your own with NanoGPT, it takes courage, definitely, right? It takes courage to leave something comfortable and enter the chasm of uncertainty.
Yeah.
If someone's listening to this and is on the brink of taking that leap, but is having a doubt about it, what would you say to them?
Ooh, I'm actually not sure, because in my case, it didn't feel like such a leap or such a risk because I had some savings. So I figured I can try this as long as I have a sort of runway or savings. I had a girlfriend with a stable job. I still have a girlfriend with a stable job. So sort of I knew worst case I'll be okay. So my thinking with like entrepreneurship is sort of figure out what the worst case scenario is and then figure out if you're okay with that. Like if the worst case scenario happens and you're still fine, then you really have no reason not to try it, at
Correct.
least, I think. Um, which is maybe not the stereotypical, like, okay, whatever the situation is, do it. No, I think you have to be a bit practical, usually. So if you think you have a good idea, like save up for a few months, figure out your worst case scenario, and then decide, do I want to go for it? Do I want to give it a shot? And then, yeah, see how it goes.
I think that padding is really important, right? The savings is extremely important to take the riskier steps. When you know the risk is just those savings getting shortened, but at the end of the day, you still have your skills
Yeah.
that you can depend on, and you can just go back doing whatever you were doing before.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah, and also now we have a business, so you start thinking about like what do you want to see in people that would apply, for example, if we started like hiring employees, for example. Even if you tried a business and it failed, I would still be happy to see that someone tried. Like it's a good thing. It shows you have initiative. It shows like you're willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
So yeah, like worst case scenario, okay, it doesn't work out. That's also fine, you know. Like I said, I failed 2 businesses at least.
Yeah.
And you never know how well it goes. So also with NanoGPT, I was like, we'll give it a try. And it didn't take much investment. That makes it a lot easier, I think. So yeah, worst case scenario, I would be fine.
Yeah, embrace the uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, I feel like nowadays it's much more easier to start a business.
Yeah.
Like the internet has opened up so many opportunities and crypto. You don't even need a payment processor to approve you now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You could just get into one of the cryptos, not even necessarily Nano, and just start accepting something.
Yeah.
I remember on X, I believe there's someone from Lagos in Nigeria.
Yes.
She's selling like catering services.
Yeah.
Right? And
Abrialo or
yes.
something. Yeah.
And she's just, I mean, she's using X as a medium of communication and marketing.
Yeah.
And that's her main channel where she sells.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's using Nano for the
It's
payments,
perfect. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Especially with that kind of stuff. If it doesn't take much initial investment, you could just try it. Like for many people, I guess they can even try setting up a business on the side. Like if they work a job still and you have some spare time, you think you have a good idea, you can start building it and see if people are interested. If people are willing to pay, great. You know, you can turn it into a full-time thing.
Yeah, the 5 to 9 is the most important time, right? You build your own thing while you have the job.
Yeah.
Don't work on the job, then it counts as the job. That's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
But do it afterwards. But the 5 to 9, when people are very relaxed, if of course you can afford to spend some time on that or take the weekends, you have to sacrifice something if you want that reality to happen.
Yeah. No, I think so too. Like the first situation I said with the worst case scenario, you have savings or whatever. That's if you need to start by doing it full time.
Yeah.
But I think in many cases, you want to figure out if you have like product market fit, I guess is a very stereotypical way of saying it. But like if you know there are people willing to pay because you're just trying it out like on the weekends and on the evenings, then you have less of a risk if you start doing it full time, right? Because you already know there are at least some people, there's at least one person that's willing to pay for this. And that's like the biggest hurdle usually, finding one person outside of your friends and your family who is like willing to pay for this.
Yeah, I think a business is when people pay money for it, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you figure out what people are ready to pay money for.
Yeah.
And you can, honestly, I feel like you could always start it as free because you're going to suck very bad in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
If it's a product or a service, like you said, NanoGPT started with just ChatGPT and the UI was not good initially. You started with a Telegram bot, not a website.
UI was not great on the Telegram bot.
But people want to use it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And people are ready to pay some money for it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you need to find out. Like, what are people ready to pay money for? And I think starting free is the best.
Yeah.
Give it out for free, learn from it. And then once you have so much supply, you can start charging for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's what, like the way I did it was kind of reverse, right? Because I charged from the start because I was sort of thinking in a different way where I thought maybe people are okay with it for free, but then how many of those do you actually convert when you start charging for it?
Yeah.
I was a bit afraid of that. Like maybe I get 100 people that like it for free, but yeah, it's easy to like stuff when it's free, right?
Correct.
So I guess if it had been free, then I wouldn't have felt as confident to
I get what you mean.
convert it into an actual business. I'm thinking what also really helped for me, for us at least, is we accepted Nano, right?
Yeah.
Can also be another crypto, of course. But you have a group who's very enthusiastic about what you're building. You have the same with Exnopay,
Yes.
right? Do I pronounce it
Yes,
Exnopay?
Exnopay, yes.
Exnopay. Because there are more people that want you to succeed, because it's also good for them in a way.
Yeah.
So I think that also really helps. A lot of the advertising that was done for us was the Nano community, just trying to spread the word.
Yeah.
So I think that's another way that you can help that initial bootstrap, I guess.
Yeah. Helping people is the best way to kind of figure out what you're good at and then what people will pay money for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like give, and the ask will come itself.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think so. Yeah.
Right? All right, Milan, picture this. It's 2030. Nano is in every Dutch wallet. Okay. Or rather, a lot of wallets. Okay. Nano GPT is like reshaping how we pay, how we interact with AI, and you're reflecting all on the entire journey. Okay. Leaving the bank, the Iron Man's, right, which builds your mental capability, and unmasking Mira Hurley.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What's that one moment that you'd love to relive? Not just for the win, but for the fire that it lit in you.
Oof. What is the first moment? Man, that's so tough. So what I was telling you just before we started this, one really fun, cool moment is running into a NanoGPT user in the wild, because then it starts feeling real in a way, right? Like it's all online, people use this, it's anonymous, and you know there are many people using it, but it never feels that real until like you have people reaching out to you about like how it's helping them. So I think stuff like running into someone in real life who uses our service, someone reaching out on Twitter saying how they get use out of it for medical stuff, whatever. Like the feeling of building something that people like to use is the best, like the best feeling. Like I do for NanoGPT, I also do our customer support and whatever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Like I did a customer support job once, I hated it, and now I love doing it because it's like, thank you, like that's a great point, we need to improve this, okay, we'll fix it, and I can actually fix it myself, and I know there's an actual person who's like happy with what I built and what I fixed, and you know they get back to you like, oh, thanks for fixing it so fast, and thanks for doing this. So I think for me the best feeling out of like everything the past year or something building NanoGPT is just feeling like you're adding something for other people, something useful. So yeah, that's the feeling to keep reliving every day, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks so much, Milan, for joining us and telling about your own story, about Nano, AI, and also the beliefs that you have, and for building great products. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.